This presentation has been created by people with lived experience of autism who attend Hamelin's Ability Works program. We wanted to create a motivational and inspirational project which showcases our emotions and how autism impacts people differently. We hope that this will give you a deeper understanding of autism and what you can do to take the first step in supporting our neurodiverse people.
Can you explain or put into words what autumn feels like?
It sort of feels like everybody else is working off of a script that everyone has a copy of except for you, and then no one will tell you what you're supposed to be doing or anything. They expect you to know, but you just don't.
I'm always studying neurotypical people to see how they behave and act, and I try and do my best impression of that, although it feels like I'm failing. I am slowly relearning to unmask, which I think is something neurotypical people could relate to.
For me, autism just feels like being different, overthinking everything, thinking you're doing everything wrong, or just never being able to explain why things just work the way that they do. Things just work that way, and it's always been hard for me, for example, to explain why. Accessibility often comes at the cost of dignity. For example, at a restaurant, that you see a disabled entrance, but it's rarely is it around the front. It's always around the back. It's always around the side. It's always really out of the way. The same is true for the measures put in place to support neurodivergent people in the workplace. It's often clear that the accommodations they're giving us were just, oh, we should probably do something to help this autistic person or this ADHD person or this dyslexic person. It's never part of the original plan. And for neurodivergent people, it can be uncomfortable to be made the center of attention. This, of course, extends to being pulled into discussions about what to do, what can be done to help them. A lot of neurodivergent people don't like to be singled out and being told, well, how can we help you specifically? And to help with this discomfort, it could be as simple as changing it from how to accommodate a different person to how we could accommodate, make the, or should I say, make the workplace more comfortable in general. Instead of having adaptations being targeted specifically at neurodivergent and or different people, just reframe it as it's for everyone to make everyone feel more comfortable. For example, on the paperwork you'd see for applying to a job, they could list what they do to help people who need adaptations. And in conclusion, neurodivergent people just want to be treated like part of the group, part of the crowd, and not as a special case or especially not as an inconvenience. Just don't make it a thing.
Don't.
Make.
It.
A.
Thing.
Why is it different doing a task on your own terms rather than being told to do it?
Well, for me, being told to do a task that more than likely I was already intending to do, it just gets frustrating because it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to just explain to someone, I know I have to do it, I'm aware, I know it's a thing, I know it needs to happen, I know it's there, but I just don't need to be reminded to do a thing that I'm already going to do. And especially if I'd already slotted it into my routine or my schedule, and then they say, oh, why haven't you done it yet? Well, it's not time yet.
What does a meltdown feel like for you personal?
My meltdowns feel like just I need to escape. All my options are exhausted. The worst case scenario is going to happen. I'm just assuming that the world's going to end. Everyone's going to hate me, and I just need to run away. I just want to stop what I'm doing. I just want to leave. I just want to go home. I just want to not be there anymore.
A video about my personal experience with anxiety and being overwhelmed.
Can you remember a time when you had to repeatedly justice your struggles?
Yeah, especially to doctors. I always have the feeling that I am at square one. Also, having to tell my struggles to close friends who don't always understand, I can't communicate with them.
Why are you so tired? You haven't done anything.
I'm always tired because of the extreme levels of mental energy I am putting into socialising and masking on a day-to-day basis. It becomes difficult to remember things, and my brain begins to have short, painful buzzes that cause me to panic.
How can business help neurodiverse people?
They can be more understanding about the fact that not everybody has the same thought processes. Like, for instance, if I'm asking for clarification on something, it's because I need to know why I'm doing something, not just because I'm told you have to do it this way because that's the way we do it. As long as I understand why something is done a certain way, I'm fine with it. I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm just asking for clarification.
What fears, concerns do you have around starting a new job?
For me, I am apprehensive around social situations, especially in a job involving daily expected communication, like eating lunch with co-workers, which has taken me a long time to understand that is something I would be expected to do. Similar behaviours would also complicate a day-to-day workday.
Personally, I'd be concerned that I wouldn't see the signs that like a neurotypical person would recognize in an interview setting, where they recognize, oh, this is definitely not a good place to work at. Like, it's clearly signs that it's going to be a toxic environment, or that the company isn't as supportive as they make themselves out to be. Have you ever had a conversation like this? You're sharing an idea with someone and they just don't seem to absorb it all at once. You feel like you were very clear with your presentation, but the information was ignored? It probably looked more like this. For many autistic people, this is common. You may feel like there's only one thing to focus on. It's not that difficult. But an autistic person may have an uncountable number of things taking up their attention. Your annoyance at them ignoring you is not nearly as upsetting as their own annoyance at themselves for physically not being able to focus on what you're saying. You may think, but they were still able to pay attention yesterday. Remember, brains are not rigid. Some days may be easier than others. Always try to be patient and understanding. There's more at play than you can see.
Okay, but why bother? First step, first of many. The suffering faced by autistic people does not come solely from autism. Lack of support and understanding can have devastating effects on those who live with autism every day. By taking the first step, we can reduce these effects over time, even if it is little by little. We all share a responsibility to make the world a better place for those with autism. Don't treat it as a burden, but instead as an exciting opportunity to make your mark and improve the world for the better. You may say it doesn't affect me, so why should I? For many, that is a reasonable thought. I would ask you to broaden your perspective. If not you, then who? Anyone we care about could be autistic. And they may not even realize it. Just because it doesn't affect us directly doesn't mean it won't affect the people we love. You stand to gain. The actions we take, both large and small, don't just help autistic people. For example, providing access to ear defenders can support those experiencing sensory overload, for example, in the workplace. Likewise, showing greater patience in communication for autistic people can help others who struggle with communication but are not autistic. Okay, but who am I helping? These actions can help children in many situations, such as those struggling in school. Time for which, for many of us, shaped our future and sometimes closed off paths we once dreamed of taking. At the other end of life, they can also help adults in employment who may be struggling. We all know how difficult it can be, so why not make it easier, not only for those with autism, but for everyone? People who have autism but remain undiagnosed will also benefit. You'll be helping those who may not even realize that autism is affecting them. And it's not just individuals with autism, you'll also be helping families who are doing their best to support their sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, and everyone in between. So all said and done, what can you actually factually do? Be patient, for example, in communication. Give people time for them to express themselves. Listen rather than assume. Avoid dismissing sensory needs. Challenge harmful stereotypes. Encourage inclusive environments. Support autistic voices. Seek education, even if it means researching yourself. Share accurate information. Support organizations that help those with autism. Provide/be open to alternative means of communication. Have an open communication rather than focusing on differences. Here's a quest. Today, take your first step and start simple. Try researching autism, watching one of our linked videos, donating, or do something we may not have mentioned. Any of these can serve as your first step, and therefore our first step toward making the world a better place. Not only for those with autism, but for those without it too.
Goodbye and have fun. Progress doesn't need to be a burden. Brought to you by Ash, Bella, Chris, Eric, and Jacob.